I just want to check that. Okay. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar. Okay. Namaste to all. Fine. Thank you. Okay, fine. My voice is audible. That's good enough. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ji. Good afternoon, all of you. Good evening. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all of you. We still have time, 5 minutes to go. I just want to share with you that today we have a lot of rush for this webinar, or there's a huge registration. So I'm sharing a YouTube link of channel where this session will be live. So my request to you all would be that if you can subscribe to that channel, it will be nice. It will just take 5 minutes of your case. If there is some network problem or you have to leave in between, you can definitely join on that YouTube. So I've shared that, so you can all subscribe to that channel where that is live. So you can further share it with the people, your friends, because we will not be able to accommodate more than 500, but then there is registration of around 1500 people for today. So there is something, some people will have to miss it out. My request to you is that you can share that channel to others so they can subscribe to it and they can watch the session today on YouTube. Thank you so much. Please do that. Agar aap log sab ho, if you can join, that voice is not clear. Okay. Is that better now? Is it better? I have come closer. Not audible. Clear. Okay, now it's better. Fine. So my request is I have shared a channel link. So please subscribe to that channel so that in case if there is some technical problem, you will be still be able to watch it. You will still be able to watch it. Okay, okay. So please subscribe to that channel. I have just sent you that channel link. I can send you again. I can send you again. If you can do that, please subscribe to that channel. Because today there is going to be a little rush with it. So if in case you are not able to, if due to some technical problem, you are not able to attend this, so live session, so you can watch it there. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
वो इंटरनेट वाला कुछ फोन है क्या उसका?
Good evening, all of you. Good evening. Ma'am, we will be starting right away. Just 5 more minutes. We'll start in 5 more minutes. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, because there are people from outside the country, outside India as well. So there could be a different time zone for them. So whether I call it good afternoon, I call it good evening, our wishes are with you. Good evening, good afternoon, good evening, sir. Dehradun. Okay. Namaste. Good afternoon, good evening. Just one more thing. We have the limited capacity for the webinar of 500 people, but there are registrations of about 1,500 people. So in case if you are unable to continue, or you might have to, or because of some technical issue, if you are not able to join the live session, I'm again sharing the channel, YouTube channel. You can please subscribe to that channel so that you can watch it online there in case if you're not, and you can share it further with your other friends there who might be waiting to join the session, because we have right away, we have crossed 460. When it is 500, admission to the new people would stop. So we cannot accommodate more than 500. So please, I would also request you to subscribe in case because of some technical problem. In that case, you can, yeah, you will get the certificate also. So in case you are, I am grateful to you, the people joining from Qatar, Sharjah, all these places. I have just shared the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that so that you don't face problem in watching this session. When it is 500, it will stop people from joining further. So you can share it with your friends. Please do that. Please do that. Please do that. I would request all of you to please subscribe, because we have 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes to join the session. Okay, from Abu Dhabi, from Sharjah, from Qatar, from across the India, from Bangladesh, there are a lot of people today, because we are crossing the capacity to 500. Please, so you can watch us live on YouTube. I have shared the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you, those who have subscribed, because I don't want you to face a problem. Please, please subscribe to that so that you don't face any technical problem. And please share it further. Okay, from UAE, yeah, thank you. Welcome, welcome, sir. Welcome, please. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Welcome. Uh, we have crossed the limit of 500. I don't know why it is taking. Otherwise, there's a capacity of 500 in this session, please. So I would request you, I'm sharing the YouTube channel. Again, I am saying that there could be some technical problem with some of you. So I would request you to kindly subscribe to this channel so that you don't face any technical problem. आप प्लीज इसको सब्सक्राइब कर लें इस चैनल को. मैंने एक यूट्यूब चैनल दिया है क्योंकि ये दिस इज वी आर गेटिंग फुल कैपेसिटी टुडे. नाउ आई थिंक नोबडी कैन ज्वाइन फर्दर. अब कोई ज्वाइन और नहीं कर पाएगा बिकॉज वी हैव रीच्ड द कैपेसिटी. We have reached the capacity. So they will have to watch on YouTube only. आप अपने friends को please share with your friends or your colleagues who are not able to join now because we are full. In that case, they can subscribe to that channel and they can watch it there. Thank you so much. Thank you. I can also share with you the live posting of that. Thank you so much. Ma'am is trying to join again. She was here with us. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
लिंक भेज देना बस
Yes. Good afternoon to all of you. The session is about 1.5 hours maximum. Session is about 1.5 hours. Ma'am has joined us, but she's again trying to connect. She's again trying to connect. The topic for today's session is the formative assessment and making online formative assessment for primary classes. Primary classes, yeah. Ma'am is trying to, good afternoon. Yeah, we will provide you the certificate after the program. We'll provide you the certificate after the program. I would request again, those who are all here, I'm sharing the link of a channel. Those who have subscribed is fine because there can be some technical problem because, okay. Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Yeah. So my request is please subscribe to the channel which I'm going to mention because there can be some technical problem. We have around 1500 registrations and we can only accommodate 500 people. We can only accommodate 500 people. There are a lot of people who are sending me messages because they are waiting outside and they are not able to join in because we are already full. So they will all have to watch it on YouTube live. So I'm sharing the link where you can send it to your friends who are not able to. Acha, okay. Ma'am, what happened in the webinar as a attendees, your audio is muted. By default, it is muted. So you cannot speak. In that sense, you can send a message in the chat box. So that is what. I just let me check it with Fareen ma'am why she's not able to join. Let me ask her again. She joined it earlier. Hello, all of you. Yeah, no, we have yet to start because ma'am is trying to join. Ma'am is trying to join. There's some technical problem. She joined it earlier. We tested at 4 o'clock. हमने 4 o'clock को test किया था. Everything was working fine. But again, there's some problem. She's joining. She's joining. I have shared the link again. Please subscribe to that problem so that there is no technical problem. There is no technical issue. तो मैंने वीडियो बंद कर दिया है। हाँ।
खाली तो लग रहा है। लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि उस पे लाइव स्ट्रीम से मिलेगा क्या सर्टिफिकेट?
हाँ, लाइव स्ट्रीम का नहीं मिलेगा।
मिलेगा?
नहीं, मैंने अभी
अभी
100 का भी और लिया है। आज जस्ट लिया, हमारे होस्ट ही नहीं ज्वाइन कर पा रहा। मैंने अभी लिया यार, 3000 रुपये खर्च हो गया उसको। मैंने अभी जस्ट उस पे आई हैव जस्ट पेड 3000 टू सब्सक्राइब 100 मोर पीपल। अभी जस्ट किया है, एक बार आप ट्राई कीजिए इफ इट इज अलाउइंग यू टू ज्वाइन। अभी मैंने अपग्रेड कर दिया प्लान को। आई हैव जस्ट अपग्रेडेड द प्लान। अच्छा, यू वांट सम मीटिंग आईडी एटसेट्रा ना, वो मैं भेजूंगा आपको। वो कह रही है मैंने तो नहीं निकली, मैं तो नहीं थी। We are so sorry. Actually, ma'am is desperately trying to join, and there's some technical problem she is facing. Please bear with us. There's some technical problem. Please. Yes, session is getting delayed because there is some technical problem. The resource person is trying to join, please. Resource person is trying to join.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely.
I'm
Thank you.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. There is, some technical glitch and I got late.
It's okay, ma'am. It's okay. So, first of all, I welcome you all. And after a long time, means after a long time, we are having a full house. We are having a full house. And it is Farheen ma'am, which is with us. So we had registration about exceeding far, far beyond. And then only 500 people could have joined. So they are there. In between, when ma'am was trying to join and she was unable to join, I immediately added that, upgraded my subscription for the Zoom. But then ultimately, ma'am is able to join, whatsoever it is. So nice of
Thank
her.
God.
And then what I just share something and about ma'am, and then we will proceed. Just let me introduce fast with the resource person. So that is one very important thing that I should be doing. Okay, thank you. But I just did it. So Asnaha Farheen ma'am, as she started her career in the realm of education for 10 years back as a PYP educator. And then over these years, with her experience, she has moved into pedagogical leader. And then she has been herself so much involved in teaching and learning, but right now she's more into teacher training. And with her long tenure as an IB primary years program in that area, she has been a coordinator in the presenter school, and she's also pursuing her she conducts a lot of sessions on differentiated teaching and learning instructions. And this is her, I share with you all. And presently, she is the head of the primary section in Abdul Qadir Mola International School, that is Narsingri in Bangladesh. So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And then you have, it was
Yeah.
worth waiting. It was worth waiting.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Pramod. I think we should not waste more
Yes,
time. And
yes.
I'm really sorry, everyone, who I made you wait, and but because it was a technical glitch, and finally I got in. So thank you so much, Mr. Pramod,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
thank you
ma'am.
so much, Climb Webinar, for creating such a constructive platform like educator like us. And I'm so happy and delighted to get connected with all the like-minded people out there. So thank you so much, guys, joining us. So I'm trying to share the screen. I hope it will work. So if you
Yes.
allow me, please, I'll try to do
Acha,
that.
okay, okay. I allow you again. Ma'am, it should automatically allow you.
Yeah, it is not. It is saying that host has stopped.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Just a minute.
Yes.
Okay, if it is not working,
No, no,
then you
just a minute, just a minute, ma'am.
okay, fine, fine. It's okay.
Just a minute. Ma'am, एक second, just a minute.
Gee, take your time, please. Take your time.
There is always something or the other.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Ma'am, see if it is still not allowing you.
Let me check once. It's allowing me.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
good to go. Thank you so much. Can you see the screen?
No, not yet, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, it is trying to share. It is trying to share.
Yeah, yeah. It is loading. Yeah, it is loading actually.
Yeah,
The
done,
network
done,
is
done. It's done. Thank you. You are on screen. Yes, visible.
okay. So welcome everyone. Today we are going to, demystify the power of effective formative assessment, and the talk is about formative assessments. And you must be wondering why we are discussing about formative assessment. So being an inquiry teacher and learner, you'll get to know at the end of the presentation why are we discussing about formative assessments today. So let's, it's good to go. Let's start, and let's start introducing yourself. So use the chat box and let me know your name and where are you joining us from. and also tell me, and answer any one question. Tell us about your family or your favorite pet, or what is your fun summer activity or your ideal meal or anything, or what is something that makes you happy. So it is an icebreaker. I don't know you all. I may know some of you, because such webinars we have all people, those who are acquainted and friends. But yeah, take 2 minutes, use the chat box to introduce yourself, and please answer any one question. Can you see the chat box, Mr. Pramod? Am I
Yes,
audible?
I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So are they answering?
Yeah, they are answering. The ma'am is asking, yeah, they are asking, they are telling their names.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
anything about from, yeah, they can choose any of the 5 questions.
Okay, the questions are: tell us about your family, tell us something memorable from summer, describe your ideal meal, tell us about
Any one question, any one question.
any one question. What 3 things make you smile or feel happy? Great, great, yeah.
Okay, in the meanwhile, when they are, typing their answers, I'm going to tell what we are going to cover in today's session. So we are going to discuss about purpose of assessments, and a little bit about, distinguishing formative and summative assessment. What are the characteristics of effective feedback? Understand different assessment tools and techniques. And we are going to talk about rubrics and a little bit of self and peer assessment. Great. So today's topic is assessment. So I want you to describe in one sentence, what do you mean by assessment, using the chat box. Today we are all going to be active learners, because we are going to, discover about the primary classrooms and primary students who will act like primary students. So use the chat box extensively, and you're going to tell me, what do you mean by assessment? What is your definition of assessment? Use the chat box and let me know, please. Else, what you can do, I'm going to share something in the chat box. You can use that, even that link, to share your answers. Chat is enabled, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. So I'm going to share a link with you. It is all panelists.
No, you are not able to see the chat?
I can see. Very good. Still they are explaining about,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Now they have
So
started answering about assessment.
all panelists and attendees, you can see a poll over there. I have just, because people are, flooding with their names, and also they may miss it. I have just shared it. Fine. You can use the chat box only to, avoid confusion. Yes, because there are large number of people, so we need not to use that tool. So assessment is,
My God, there's such a long description.
yes, assessment is the process of gathering and analyzing and interpreting information about whom? Obviously about students, and also about teachers. What about teachers? We are going to talk about how assessment is beneficial both for students and for teachers. So yes, student learning and instructional choices in order to provide students with feedback, improve student learning, and inform instructor as to the effectiveness of their pedagogy about teaching and learning. So assessment is not only about students, where do they stand. Assessment is about us as well as educator, where we are, and how can we understand the need of the learners. Now, a little bit of assessment for you guys. Tell me how good you are as an assessor. So use the chat box, and you can use any number. This is a rating scale. This is again an assessment tool which you can take back to your classes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 5 is like you are a wonderful assessor. 4 is, you are a little bit somewhere at 4. 3 is okay. 2, you are not a good assessor, and 1, yeah, you are a very bad assessor. So let us know how good you are as an assessor. When you assess learners, how good you are. Are you biased? Are you unbiased? You take care of the need of the learners, you plan assessment well. So use the chat box and let us know how good you are as an assessor. Are they answering in the chat box? Because
Yes, yes,
500
ma'am.
participants.
Five,
Yeah,
4, 3. Yeah, they can mention the number.
that's great.
You're not able to see the chat box, ma'am?
I am concentrating more on
Okay,
PPT
fine.
because,
And you have switched on your switched off. This is your camera is off, isn't it?
yes, I have deliberately switched it off because here network is too bad. So if
Okay.
I'll keep it on, you want me to keep it on? Okay.
Yeah, just try that. Yeah,
Yes, it's
that's
working. Fine. So yeah. So let me know where you are. Grade yourself. Today it's time to grade ourselves. We keep on grading students. Now let's grade ourselves as an assessor. Okay, when we assess, what do we assess? So I always, try to tell my teachers mnemonics or abbreviation. It is easy to remember. When we assess, remember being an international educator, when we assess, we not only assess the factual knowledge, we discover, the knowledge, skills, attitude, the disposition of what they are learning, and their ability to take their learning to the real world. Then we act as designers. Then we design, tailored instructions or tailored assessment catering to the need of the learners. What next? We deliver our learning and teaching practices in a way which helps learner to reach their maximum potential. Determination is also there. Not only learners, we as educators are determined to provide quality results. Okay. The kind of assessment that we use, what do we do in general? That we first plan our, instructional approach or the lesson plan, and then we think of assessments. So it is advisable that before planning any such thing, just try to find out in a backward way that what is, how can we identify the desired results, what I want my students to know, to understand, and to be able to do. So it is all about KUD, what I want my student to know, to understand, and to do. Okay, and then when we are done with all those things, what I will be needing to check what they have learned. So here we are talking about backward design of assessments, right? So when we have decided the learning intention, when we have, pondered about the KUDs, then we need to think about what learning experiences do we need to give learners to reach the maximum level of their performance. Then we are going to discuss a bit about the types of assessment. So basically you all know that there are two types of assessments: broadly formative and summative assessments. But yes, there are other types as well inside these two types, subtopics. So assessment types are basically about, when they're traditional in nature, it's all about paper pencil tasks, selected response, your quiz, your fill in the blanks, your multiple choice questions, and mostly those are the constructed response. We know that what will be the answer. So a kind of fixed approach is over there. Then the next type of assessment is performance task and project. So it is more of open-ended, right, and more complex and authentic. Why they are more complex and authentic? Because they are the proof of enduring understanding of the learner. So the traditional approaches actually cater to first two circle: worth being familiar, the knowledge part, important to know and do, the skills and understanding part, and the third, that is the most important thing, enduring understanding. If a learner has enduring understanding, he or she is actually mirroring the real world and is getting ready to apply what all he or she has learned. So it is beyond the factual knowledge. A little bit about KUDs. For example, this is a table which will give you clear, understanding of KUDs. KUD, whenever you're writing your learning intention, or probably you are calling it learning objective, the major aim of the lesson. So you need to identify three things. That is the foremost responsibility, and especially in this scenario, when we are doing, the digital learning, the distance learning, it is very important to identify the KUDs. K stands for knowledge. Knowledge tends to, the kind of facts or definition or people, dates, so more of factual knowledge. Understanding is deeper. When students are coming up with the generalizations, the essential understanding, and the third part is able to do. So when they are using the skills learned in the classroom to solve real world problems. So while designing your lessons, while designing your assessment tasks, identify your KUDs. Fine. Can you all see the screen? So there's a picture in the screen, and the picture talks about equality and equity. I request you all to just tell me how is it connected with our present topic, what we are discussing, the talk of today. How can you say that this picture is somewhere related to the topic which we are discussing today? Use your chat box and let me know, what do you think that how this picture is related to the talk of today? Wow, I can see answer. For those Fatima, differential learning, differential assessment, one size fits all, identify the student psychology, giving extra support. Wow. So yeah, what do we do as teachers? We say all students are equal. We are going to give them equal support. That is the mistake which we are doing. Equality, it promotes fairness, but it actually promotes fairness on a level where we are giving equal thing to people, those who are not, at the same level. As you can clearly see in the picture, the teacher, what teacher did? Teacher actually went down to the level of student and she created pathways, learning pathways, so that each of the student on this side, the equity side, can see the playground. So actually this picture is mirroring our classroom. We need to understand where students are and what we need to do to make them, see the real world. So we need equity in classroom, not equality. Understand fair is not always equal. And if you want to make your teaching and learning assessment fair, go back to the level of students, see where they are and what we need to do to make them reach to their maximum potential. Now, whenever we talk about assessment, we just, see assessment with an angle that, okay, it is only related to the learner, the student. But see how assessment is important for other stakeholders. Here, I'm not talking about parent, I'm talking about teacher, I'm talking about other peers and the learners as well. For example, a teacher who is involved in the formative assessment, what he or she is doing, he is clarifying and sharing the learning intention. And this is what all is happening during the class when the learning did not stop, when you have not reached to the summative assessment level. Then looking at the conception and misconception of the learner, the teacher is engineering effective tasks. So the teacher is changing the effective task so that all the learners move to the equity side, right? And then what teacher is doing, the teacher is providing effective feedbacks, right? Now when the other learners are involved with as a peer assessor, so the learning intention is clear, and other learners, those who are the peers of learner are actively involved as a resource person while teaching and learning. So it is very important to involve peer assessment, to inculcate peer assessments in your teaching and learning practices. Being an educator, you must be aware about ZPD, zone of proximal development. So a learner learns better with support, and who is there to support in the classroom? Teacher, right? The sole dictator of information? No, right? We are 21st century educators. So we need to involve peer-to-peer learning, and we need to involve peer into the assessment. How are we involving? Through peer assessment. Okay, a lot of talk about, assessment. Let's discuss about cats. Who all loves cat? Who like cat? Use the chat box. Okay, don't get annoyed. We are not going to discuss about cats. Rather, we are going to discuss about cats, and what is the, it is a mnemonic again used for classroom assessment techniques. While you are conducting the classroom assessment, make sure that you are using a handful of strategies. Don't rely on one or two strategies. Your arsenal should be full of tools and techniques, and use those tools and techniques in an informed way, right? First of all, whenever you are starting a new concept or a new topic, take background knowledge survey. Background knowledge survey is all about your prior knowledge assessment, and prior knowledge assessment is the basis of differentiated instruction. You have seen in the picture on the other hand where three learners are at the different level, and we never know where our learners are, because they are generation Z, right? They are digital transformers. And who we are digital natives. We think about, they don't know much, but they are not empty vessels. Sorry, they have a background of knowledge. Knowledge may have conception or may have misconception, but as a teacher we need to know where they are, and that should happen before starting the concept, and also have pre and post test to see where the students were and where they have reached. Primary trait analysis, it's all about when we are analyzing the traits during the unit, before starting the unit, and after the unit. So this is again a part and parcel of your formative assessment. Misconception and preconception check I have done. I have just discussed clearest point and muddiest point. When you are taking the lesson, just ask your learners during an online class, okay, dear students, what is the clearest point today? What is something that you really understood well? What is something which is the muddiest point? What is something which you did not understand? It helps you to analyze, are they growing, are they moving forward in their learning, or they're stuck somewhere, and you can give them a solution in time, right? Classroom opinion polls and surveys, there are many tools which can be used for classroom opinion polls and surveys. I wanted to use few tools, but I am not able to do so. So I'm telling you which tools you can use. You can use Mentimeter. It is a paid tool, but 2 slides are free, right? So those 2 slides you can use in a reused manner, so again and again you can use it, and you can use it during the lesson when the learning is going on as a formative assessment tools. You can also use polls everywhere, and it is allowing 25 participants, and you can take the paid version of it, or you can use Google surveys. It is free, and it is well embedded with your Google Classroom. Reading reaction, whenever you're giving them any text to read, ask them what did they understand. Talk to them about the character of those texts. If it is a story, if it is not a story, you have given them something, talk about the facts and opinion provided in the text. Paper reaction, again, same, whatever you are giving them. For example, you have given them a news article, you have given them some pages from a book about the topic that you are dealing with. So ask their reactions. Okay, then only they will be able to relate what they have learned in the article and how is it connected to the topic which they are dealing in the class. Pair and share. So think, pair and share is a wonderful strategy which we used to use in the class, but now what you can do, you can use think, pair, and type, right? So pair them up with the other learners in the classroom during the online classes and tell them, okay, whatever you are thinking, or they can pair up with their siblings or with their parents, and then they can share their understanding. Another thing which you can do as a classroom assessment technique is portfolio analysis. Whenever you are dealing with a process, have a portfolio of the student from the scratch where they have started, and maintain it consistently till the end objective of the lessons. Portfolio analysis can be one of the tool where you want to see the developmental progress of a child. Chain notes, you can ask them to develop their notes so that you can see how much they have gathered. And when I'm talking about notes, it is not the notes delivered by the teacher, it is what they have understood. Tell them to maintain a journal of their day-to-day understanding. They can, if they are older enough, they can use Google Docs for maintaining that journal. Now, John Hattie is one of the famous educator. So think your learners are plants, right? So when we talk about plants, and when we talk about the development of plant, growth of plants, what do? We water them, right? We make sure that they're getting enough sunlight. We make sure that they are being supplied by macro and nutrients through proper fertilizers. So in the same way, think your students are plants, right? And think your formative assessment is the way you take care of plants. So supply that kind of proper feedback, proper learning intentions, proper support. Take care of the equitable support, and think that your students are plants and you are nurturing them. And how do you nurture them? After the unit or during the unit? Yes, during the unit. During the unit, we can make things happen. For example, you're going for a meeting with the prime minister. What will you do? You will talk after coming out of the room? No, you will talk when you're inside the room. So do all the betterment for the learners when learning is going on. And that's where lie the formative assessment. So summative assessment is important, but it gives us a clear picture of where students have reached. But what are we doing for making them reach where we wanted them, or where they have to reach? So there, the role of formative assessment is highly prominent. Okay, now we can compare a bit about summative and formative assessment. So summative assessment is all about measuring the height of the plant. So when we are measuring where the students have reached, that is summative assessment. Wherein the formative assessment has a more vast role. Here we are talking about the growth of the plant. We are nurturing the plant through proper supply of nutrients, through proper supply of water and sunlight. So which is most important? If we'll not nurture the plant, will we be able to measure it? No, certainly not. So that's the reason formative assessment are assessment for learning, and assessment as learning. How formative assessment are assessment as learning? Because during the formative assessment, we need to inculcate self assessment and peer assessment, and it becomes formative assessment as learning, because learners are learning about themselves, where they are, what are the muddiest point, what are the clear points, where they have to reach, what they can do. So a lot of introspection is happening, a lot of self analysis is happening, right? So formative assessment has a bigger, wider role as compared to summative assessment. And if you are planning it well in a backward manner, you get enough opportunities to reach to the level of learners. Now a bit about assessment strategies and tool. So this is actually a compiled thing which is being used in International Baccalaureate, but it is being taken from Grant Wiggins. So there are two things when we talk about assessments: assessment tools and assessment strategies. So what are the most common assessment tools? Rubric, right? So rubric is actually a table sort of format with clear description of the level, so it gives a clear understanding. For example, Mr. Pramod, can you unmute yourself and can I see you?
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Yeah, Mr. Pramod, I have given you 5. Okay, can you tell me why I have given you that 5? You had a test today and I have given you 5 out of 5. Happy? Unmute yourself, Mr. Pramod. You're muted.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have given you 5 today. You had a test and I have
Okay.
given you 5. Are you
Okay.
happy?
Yeah, I'm very happy, ma'am.
Okay, now I have given you 0 in another test. Are you happy?
No, not at all.
Do you know why I have given you 5?
No, neither I know why 5, neither I know why 0.
That's, yeah, and
But
that is the biggest drawback. Okay, I'm an external, and today you had a practical examination. I've given you alpha, beta, or theta. Do you know why I have given you?
no.
No, yes. And this is something which is a crime. When we are telling learners, you have achieved 4.5. Sometimes when the teacher's mood is good, then 4.5, otherwise 3, 4. Especially it happens in assessment where learners get certain points and grades, but they don't know. They don't know why on what basis they are being assessed, right? So, and even if you translate points into grades, still it looks abstract, right? So these assessment tools which I am talking about is, rubric, where you are giving them clear cut criterias that these are the rubrics. And again, in the rubric, marks are there is a grading scale, but each grade talks about where are we assessing them. Then again, benchmarks and exemplar. For example, you are starting a narrative writing lesson, and when you're starting, you're asking them to write a good narrative, but they don't know what does good narrative look like. So you're giving them an exemplar that in good narrative these things should be there, and then you're giving them another example of an average narrative. So benchmarking, making things visible for learners. Then again, checklist is there. So for all the selected responses, what you are doing, so there should be set criteria. For example, you are talking about story narration, so what criteria are you looking at? Fourth is anecdotal records. When you are gathering the data of the learners, their minute by minute observations, day by day observations, that is anecdotal record. And the fifth is continuum. In the beginning of the session, we use a rating scale. So these are the basic assessment tools, and assessment strategies are observation, performance, process, selected response. So it is all about a complete package. So make sure when you're assessing learners, take this complete package and bring variety in your assessment, specifically for primary learners. Right. So what are the key strategies? Again, if we look into, something which make formative assessment little easy for us as an educator, most important thing, share learning expectations with the learner. In the beginning of the session, I shared VALT. VALT means what are we learning today? Make sure that you are collecting elicit evidences of the learning. We spoke about portfolio analysis. We spoke about, minute by minute, day by day learning in the form of anecdotal record. Feedback. I'm going to talk about feedback little later as well. Self and peer assessment is very important. Now you ask me, you keep on saying, you are not reaching over there, you have these drawbacks. They listen to you, but the impact of self analysis, self assessment is more. And when it comes from peer, it is even more. So involve all the stakeholders in the assessment. So have a culture of self assessment, peer assessment, and take a back seat sometimes. Let them see where they are, and if they realize, they become more self regulatory and self reliant. We have been using it in the classroom. I used as a teacher for 7 years, and now my teachers are using a lot of self and peer assessments. Fine. Yesterday, Mr. Pramod told me that you had a good session, if you were there, about Padlet and Kahoot and all. So I want to show you a little bit about Padlet over here. So I'll just try to see if I'll be able to show. Fine. Okay. Padlet is not visible as such. Fine. Instead of Padlet, I'm showing you Puzzle because you have already seen Padlet. So you can see this side, this is the grade book. And here you can clearly see what I have given. So during the online learning, what we are doing, we are giving students a lot many, videos, recorded videos, sometimes, the YouTube videos. So use Puzzle, and Puzzle you can use with your Google Classroom. What I have done, I'm not a teacher at present. Currently, I'm not teaching any grade. Rather, I deal with teachers. So yesterday I created a Google Classroom just for this session. And I also created an Puzzle account, and I just added my own teachers. So you can clearly see, the names, and I can clearly see how much time they have spent on seeing the videos. And it is showing me that they have not seen the video. And here on the upper row, it is showing me that what, on what videos I have given to them. So it gives me a clear data of how many minutes they have watched, what are the drawbacks. So this is again an analysis of the video lessons that you're giving to learners. And most of the lessons in digital learning or in remote learning are video. So Edpuzzle is a good tool which you can use, and you can sync your Google Classroom with Edpuzzle, right? So this is Edpuzzle. I'm going to share.
Ma'am, the Edpuzzle is basically for seeing how much the video has been
No,
watched.
you can, no, you can, what you can do, you can create your own videos, and that video is not just a video. It has many lessons embedded in it. It has open-ended questions, it has selected
Okay.
response question, and it has, you all close questions and open-ended question, and you can clearly see the video itself will not allow the learners if they will not answer the question, and it is practically impossible when we give the video. So it is
Okay.
complete tracking of the student understanding, whether they are seeing the video, whether they are comprehending the video, are they able to answer the video questions. So it is a complete video lesson, so a visual lesson is there.
So it is all on the Edpuzzle itself.
Yes, it's 1 point solution, and I was totally mesmerized by it. It makes teachers' life easy.
That's so great.
Yeah, so now again I'm going to share another tool if I can. I'm little worried about the system. It is yeah, I can share one more. This is also something which I really like. This is Quizlet. So what Quizlet allow us, it is very difficult for learners when if we can empathize with them, we need to be empathetic to, these days. So you can clearly see this presentation is about our, today's topic. And if I want my, for example, this is my entire class, if I want my learners to just relook at the information, they can use the flashcards to relook at the information whatever we are covering today. Fine, so these are the flashcards. So this particular lesson has is a multi-purpose lesson. Then if I want them to take the test, they can again go back and take the test, and teachers again use Quizlet with the Google Classroom. So you don't need many tools, rather you just need a unified platform. If you're using Google Classroom, well and good, and you can use these add-on tools to make the learning happen and to track where students are, because our major goal is that students should learn in this tough and difficult times. So this is the second tool is Quizlet. I'm going to show some more tools if I can.
Can we use these tools in MS Team as well?
Yes, Microsoft Teams. Yeah, you talking about Microsoft Teams? Yes. What we did, we use Microsoft Teams for all the collaborative meeting. But I have seen other teachers, those who are using Microsoft Team as a complete digital school. So these add-ons are usable anywhere. Now you must have heard about Kahoot. We all are worried about the online content creation. Everything when we are in the classroom, things are in books and all. So what you can do, you can go to Kahoot, create an account, and sync the account with your Google Classroom if you're using, or if you're using Microsoft Teams, sync it with that classroom. Then go to Discover. For example, you need to discover about what we are learning today. Just type it, and there are ready-made quiz available. You don't have to create one, right? And if you want to bring in certain changes, so it allows you to edit. And Kahoot is something which is in the basic, without paid version also. It is allowing us to do certain things. Means in other apps the paid version are restricted, but in quiz this Kahoot, you can use it for study. There are two options. You can use it for study, or you can use it for play. And when you're playing also, it doesn't mean that you're using the play mode, so your intention is to play. Rather, your intention is to learning through play, right? So Kahoot is again a very good solution. And go to the Discover tab and find out what all is available over there. The library is full of good resources. Fine, I'm trying to show something which is very important again. Fine. This is polls everywhere. Can you see me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Fine. So polls everywhere again is a polling tool, but we can use it as a classroom tool as well. You know, for example, you're asking your students that rate today's learning, where have you reached? And you're giving them clear instruction and just you're throwing the pool through the chat, right? And they are telling you where they have reached, right? And you can have, you know, in this selected response also is there. You can have fill in the blanks also, and you will get, you know, real time answers as if you are in the classroom. You can use this polls everywhere as well. So what all we discussed? We discussed about Quizlet, we discussed about Kahoot, polls everywhere, and yeah, Newsilla. I want to show Newsilla as well. It's not working.
They can use all these tools on mobile as well, ma'am.
In mobile, yes, these are Android apps as well, and the Android apps looks differently, you know, looks different when it comes to teachers, and it looks different when it comes to students. And students need not to have an email ID. They can join the class using the codes.
Okay.
So it is again, you know, very interesting.
Okay. Nice.
Fine. So my screen is visible now, right? So we have discussed tools, and what I suggest,
Yes, ma'am.
I really like Google Forms as well. So Google Form is very versatile in nature, and what you can do, you are taking a class, and you need to, you know, have the time management that I'll be able to finish the class initial discussion after 20 minutes. So have a Google Form ready, schedule it. For example, your class is at 11. At 11:20 you are done with your, you know, the teacher's instruction or discussions. Then 11:20 the quiz that you have scheduled will pop up and will you know, go to students classroom, and they can work on it. So Google Classroom is again, you know, it's free also, and it's easy, so you can use that. Okay, so why are we discussing about formative assessment? Because the major reviews in the field of education says that formative assessment is one of the most powerful weapon, I'm saying most powerful weapon in the teacher's arsenal. The gain in achievement appear to be quite considerable, and as noted earlier, the largest ever reported for educational intervention. We do, you know, a lot of educational intervention. Sometimes we reduce the student teacher ratio. Sometimes we include, you know, more of video lessons. Sometimes we do bring in many manipulatives in the classroom, many technologies. But formative assessments, effective formative assessment has better result than any other educational intervention. So if we as educator understand the purpose of formative assessment and its efficacy, the sooner the better for us. Okay, so this is again, now I'm going to talk about, listen, about today's session. As I wrote in the introduction also, and I explained that we are going to talk about assessment pedagogy, and make sure that you are taking it the way I'm explaining it, because, you know, we are same teachers. The only thing, we are using technology to reach learners. So don't think that we are, you know, teaching technologies. Rather, take it as we are using technologies to reach learners, right? So this is one of the tool devised by De Bonos, and it is known as 6 thinking hats. For example, do you want to say something, Mr. Pramod?
Actually, there are some people saying they are not able to see the screen, but I am able to see. Are you
Really?
able to see the screen, others participants? Only desktop. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Right now, only the desktop is there. Achha,
No,
okay, some
no,
are
no.
able to see and
I have the presentation
now
ready.
ma'am is sharing the desktop. No, no, only your desktop is visible. There is some files we are able to see.
Wait. No, let me share it again. Let me share it again. There is a issue with this system.
Because
I'm so sorry. Let me share it again.
we could see some files there. Yeah.
No. Is it visible now? No?
No, there are folders and files we are able to see.
Oh, that's so sad. Let me check it again.
Okay. Some are saying that they are able to see the desktop. Yeah.
No, but I want to show the presentation and I'm sharing slide and it's not coming up. So sorry. Unable to share. Wait. Wait. It will happen. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank God. Okay, so we are going to discuss about De Bono's 6 thinking hats, right? So as I told you, before starting a lesson, identify KUDs. KUDs is knowledge, what you want your students to know. And knowledge part is basically, it deals with facts, right? And the understanding part is little deeper. For example, I have given you a book related to swimming and it has all the well explained example, illustrations are there and step by step swimming is explained. And then I called you, okay, dear Pramod, today I'm going to take you to the swimming pool and swim. Will you be able to swim? No, certainly not, because you have only factual knowledge, right? If I really want to teach you to swim or to cook, for example, I'm teaching you cooking. So I need to take you to the kitchen. I need to, make you familiar. Okay, these are the vessels, these are the ingredients that we use. So understanding is really deeper, and there is a big difference between knowledge and understanding, right? So when we wear, the first De Bono's hat, that is white hat, we are just discussing about the facts, right? Then, for example, our lesson is about energy conservation, and you have given an article. Then ask a student to wear a hat, and whatever the hat is saying, do that. So what you're doing, you are taking one content, but you're helping them to have different perspectives. So De Bono's thinking hats can be used for generating different perspectives and for making learning, more visible. Okay, so the students, those who are having the carrying the white hat, those who have chosen the white hat, they are discussing about facts, right? Dates, facts. The other students are talking about the strength. Okay, the black hat is talking about the weaknesses. The green hat is all about, seeing opportunities, the creative side. And the red hat is talking about other options. And, the blue hat is reflecting. What are we doing? How are we doing? Why are we learning this? How can we take energy conservation into a real life? So De Bono's thinking hat is, a strategy to be used in the classroom. Again, there is one more strategy that is known as the grasps. So it is again an abbreviation of, if you are having a task, what is the goal of that task, right? What role are you taking up? Fine. So for example, you are learning about fractions in the classroom, and the role of that particular learning is to understand proper and improper fraction, right? So students are taking up different roles. They are assuming that we are a news reporter, right? And we are going to write an article on difference between proper and improper fraction. They are imagining that the situation is they are using proper and improper situation in the real life. And what will be the product if they are taking the role of news reporter? The product will be an article. And before starting that, the complete grasp thing, you are understanding the success criteria. That understanding of, the proper and improper fraction is important. Then the application of proper and improper fraction is important. So these are the two success criteria for this particular task. So grasp is another strategy which you can use. So these all, promote higher order thinking skills in the classroom, and it will help you to get rid of rote learning, which happen whatever curriculum you're teaching, CBSC, IGCSE. If you're an IB, this strategies will help you, but these are, these are devised by educationists, and it is easily applicable in any other curriculum. All we are, bounded by standardized assessments, but yes, you can use it during the formative assessment. This is another strategy, that is scamper, right? So scamper is again an abbreviation of something, which is known as S is for substitute, right? So you're giving them a case study and you're asking them, what do you want to substitute in this, right? What more ideas you want to have in it to solve this particular case study. For example, the case study about, for example, you're having a lesson on biodiversity, and you're telling them that there is an imbalance in the flora and fauna, there is an imbalance in the ecosystem. So what can be substituted from here? So they will definitely say that the pollution should be substituted by, the greenery. What can be combined, right? What can we adapt? What can we modify? How can we, put to another use? How can we use it in another situation? What has to be eliminated? What has to be rearranged? So these are the thinking routines which can be used to analyze a case study, or during the process learning, or during the project learning. So this is again a thinking routine which you can use in the classroom, and also during, the remote learning. Fine. We all are fond of, learning definition, and we all want our students should by heart the definition. But believe me, learning bookish definition doesn't help. When you will say on the parent teacher meet, okay, do you know the definition of the word government or the governmental system? They will look at you and forget. So use an approach which develop a deeper understanding. So for example, you're learning about democracy, right? So students are using Freir's model. They are writing the definition of democracy. They're helping you to understand the characteristic of democracy. What are the characteristics of democracy? Democracy is of two types: the representative democracy or the electoral democracy, right? So what are the example of democracy? They are telling you some of the countries where it is being used. What are the non-example of democracy? So a definition from a very holistic angle. So they can use Freir's model for defining anything, and this is so universal. You can use it in English, math, social science, wherever you want. Now, as I said, that it is vital to involve students, in peer-to-peer interactions, but how can we promote it? So this is one of the strategies which allows peer-to-peer interaction. As you can see, it looks like a placement, and this is known as placement. For example, I have divided the students, or a student, they themselves have divided into, four four students, and we want to see what is their individual perspective about the learning and what is their collective perspective. So they can use the placement strategy. As you can clearly see, student 1, 2, 3, 4 are writing their opinions individually about certain tasks, and then they are reaching to the consensus, and the generalization is being written in the middle of the placement. So placement is again a very good strategy. Fine. Here we were discussing about, what they can take back to the real life. So when we take back to the real life, we apply it. For example, I have learned about, fractions or ratios in the classroom. So am I able to describe it? So DIGA is one strategy where you can use in mathematics, which you can use in mathematics, in language, in social study, for example, you're using DIGA, say, for common and proper noun, right? So they are describing what proper and common noun is. They are also writing how do they interpret about common and proper noun. Then they are, generalizing. They are writing a definition that common noun has these characteristics, proper nouns can be identified it through, and then you're giving them a text to apply their knowledge. So DIGA is one more strategy which you can use in the classroom. Now, we spoke about feedback. Although we are living in the world where feedback is not enough, we need to move towards feed forward. If I'll keep on telling you, you have done this, this is the impact of your work, how will it be useful for you? It will be more useful if I'll tell you, if you do this, it will be better. So our focus should be more on feed forward, but still we are, from different background where still feedback is important. So how we can make our feedback more effective? If we are saying something, it should lead to a purpose, right? So student engagement with feedback is important. So feedback has to be formative in nature. When I say formative, it should happen during the task. For example, the student is writing an essay, and after seeing that essay, you have observed that it lacks punctuation, the starting is not good, there were spelling errors, but you have observed at the end, what were you doing during the class? You have wasted your time, you have wasted student time. So during the class, if you correct it, so feedback has to be timely and has to be, formative. If you're assessing it for summative, it's a different thing. But for formative, it should be an ongoing process. Feedback is for learning. Feedback should not be given off learning, is for learning. From the feedback, they should learn something. And feedback should be clearly communicated. As I say, if my feedback is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or alpha, beta, theta, or good going, or, you have to improve this, is it clear? No. So make your feedbacks very, very clear. Feedback should be timely. It should be given on time, and it has to be consistently delivered. So means feedback is an ongoing process, and through feedback, the students learning improves. Feedback quality is maintained. So your quality of feedback is very important when you are discussing about the student learning experiences. Talk about these were the learning intentions you have reached here. I could see these are the points where you were great, but these are the points where you can improve, and this is how you can improve it. So this is all about feedback. Okay, another 7 key effective feedback strategies are: it has to be goal referenced, it has to be transparent, actionable, user friendly. Who is the user? Learners, right? Timely, ongoing, and consistent. I have discussed about it in detail, and we are switching to differentiation. Okay, it would be great if you use the chat box and let me know what differentiation strategies are you currently using and what do you mean by differentiation. Use the chat box and let me know what do you mean by differentiation, why is it important, what strategies are you using. Are they writing, Mr. Pramod?
No, I'm not, yeah, provide different activities as per the need of different level of children, catering to individual needs, teaching and assessing according to abilities. No two children are same. Differentiation means catering to different needs. Yeah.
Wow, that's good. Fine. So differentiation is where, when, for example, I'm a normal school teacher. In IB, the student teacher ratio is mostly 1:15, 2:30. So student teacher ratio is very healthy. I have conducted differentiation session for student, schools like where there are 60 students, and teacher attended the session very happily, and at the end they asked that, okay, it is practically impossible to implement differentiation, but this is not the case. Differentiation actually makes our life easy, and it is actually is a very good and effective strategies. So exploring different ways to cater for students diverse learning needs is all about differentiation. And this is about Carol and Tomlinson's strategy. It is basically devised by her. And what we are doing when we are differentiating, so for example, someone said that catering to the need of the learners. So every learner is different. We have individuality concepts also that we need to address. So are we making 35 lesson plans for the learners? No, don't make it this complicated. It's about understanding the learning needs and catering to the learning needs through appropriate instructional and teaching support. when I have started the session, I showed a slide which talks about equity and equality. So through differentiation, we are reaching towards equity. Fine. So it's about equity and respect in the learning process. Okay. So we all know about Howard Gardner's theory, the multiple intelligence and all those things. So here, when we talk about differentiation, we need to consider the diverse students. You know, what are the differences over there? One thing, students' prior knowledge is different. It is based on the exposure, it is based on, you know, the cultural background and the family background. So the prior knowledge is very different. Second, it depends on the personality of this of the student, cultural background I have already said. Then the learning preferences, how do he or she learn, how do they learn, right? Kinesthetic learner, probably the learner is a visual smart, a word smart, a logic smart, right? So it is all you know, described by Howard Gardner very beautifully. But as a teacher, I can frankly say I struggle to understand Howard Gardner's theory and implement into the class. I'll tell you what is the solution for that. Then the school readiness. uh, School readiness is all about when they are coming to school, where they are. We have observed that students are in grade 4, but their level is of grade 3. Sometimes their level is of grade 5. So what is there? There is a learning gap if the student is in grade 5 and his level is of grade 4. And the learner is a gifted learner if he is in grade 4, but he can achieve to the learning outcome of grade 5. So school readiness and differentiation is not for struggling learners only. It is for all the learners. And if we talk about universal design of learning, which talks about reaching each learner. So don't think that differentiation is only for the struggling learners. It is for each and every learner of the class, right? So they are different when it comes to gender, and their difference when it comes to the interest. How do they want to learn? So these are the differences in our classroom. So when we see these differences, actually our heart beats more fast. How we are going to, you know, cater to these needs? So this is what is described by Howard Gardner, that these are the different ways they learn through. But you know, it has become little easy by Robert Sternberg. Robert Sternberg is a student of Carol and Tomlinson. So he said that, Miss Carol, it is practically impossible for a teacher to analyze 8 or 12 multiple intelligence devised by Gardner. So I agree that students learn differently, that I want to make it simple. So he came up with these, you know, Sternberg's intelligence, and it talks about 3 basic, you know, criterias where we can see, okay, the student have these intelligence. So analytical intelligence, for example, a student in the class is talking about the facts, it is able to make well-labeled diagram, but he or she is not able to come up with creative solution. He or she is not learned through practical ways. So first is analytical learner, who is, you know, school smart, is very smart in the class, taking proper notes, and, you know, making well labeled diagram. But on the other hand, there are learners who are practical. So when you're explaining on the whiteboard, these are fractions, they are tearing up the papers, folding it into half and seeing, okay, this is half, okay, fold it again, this is 1/4. So these are the practical learners. Again, the creative learners, the innovators, the outside of box thinker. So they are using fractions into their real life, right? They are not only folding the paper and seeing this is 1/4, this is half, rather than they are seeing how can we implement fraction in the real life. So the basic level of understanding described by Robert Sternberg is analytical understanding, practical understanding, and creative understanding. Now, it's important to know why differentiation is very important, why it ensures equal access of content, right? So when we differentiate, what all we differentiate? We differentiate the content, process, product, and learning environment, right? These are the 4 basic things which we can differentiate to make the learning happen and to reach to the level of learners. So ensure equal access to learning environment, fosters strong connection between teacher, learner, and contact, relieves conflict in the learning environment, right? Fosters independent lifelong learning, build student skills, increase motivation, boost self-confidence. For example, you are a learner and you are doing a task which you are able to do. You have chosen that task, right? So how do you feel? You will feel motivated. If you are learners and as a teacher, I have given you a task which you are able to do, right? So you're using your skills. It relieves conflict in the learning environment. So what is the learning environment? It is, as per Rajiv Amelia approach, it is, the third teacher, right? So how, if you are actually aware that this particular learner is a kinesthetic learner and you are giving him or her hands-on, learning experiences, manipulatives, so it is actually, relieving the conflict of the learning environment. For example, I'm your teacher and you have some problems with the vocabulary. You are not able to understand the vocabulary which I have given you. But if I know my learner has problem with the vocabulary and I have given you vocabulary as a list to read, to understand, and then I have given you the core content, right? So doing differentiation, catering to the need of the learners, actually make learning happen in the classroom and actually beneficial for the learners, right? As I discussed, how do we differentiate? We differentiate on the basis of readiness, interest, learning profile. What all we can differentiate content, right? When we are differentiating content, for example, you are taking a lesson of civilization in the classroom, right? You want to teach about Mesopotamia or Egypt, but your learner, one of the learner doesn't learn by reading. What will you do? Use the chat box and tell me if you're taking a lesson on civilization and one of the learner doesn't learn by reading, right? What will you do? You can give him or her a podcast so that he can listen or read. You can give him or her a video. So delivering content in multiple ways. So here you are not changing the learning intention. Still you're teaching the civilization. Only thing is you are changing the way of delivering the content, right? Second thing is process, right? So when we talk about process, I have actually jotted down some tools through which we can understand how can we differentiate the process, product, and learning environment, right? So I should take you further. Okay, so the four elements that we differentiate is content, what the student need to learn, and how the student will get access to the information. The first question we should ask. Process is the learning process. Other than assessment, we do many learning experiences, activities in the classroom in which students are, engaged in order to make sense or master the content. So that is the process, how you are using that process to differentiate. Third thing is the product, the outcome. Outcome can also be different, but what is the outcome in a traditional setup? Mug up information and vomit on a piece of paper on the day of exam. That is the product. But during the formative assessment, we can change the product, and I'll let you know what are the different products which we can use. Learning environment, the way the classroom works and feels. We all know some classrooms have life, some teachers are loved, and it's all about the tone of the classroom, how you set it up, right? So your classroom should talks about what all is happening in the class. It should be spacious, it should have enough space for movement, right? It should have corners in the classroom where these learners, those who are struggling the chaos of the class, can go read and learn. It should give them some of, you have written that learning centers. Yes, learning center is again a very good option to differentiate the learning environment. Okay, so product is the learning outcome, the final thing which you want the student to do or to come up with, right? So giving student options, using rubric, allowing student to work alone. If they want to do alone, let them work alone, else divide them into different groups, encouraging students to create their own product as long as the assignment required elements. For example, it is your standardized test, right? You cannot do it. But if you are learning in the classroom, and for example, you are learning about, say, you're learning about writing process, right? You are learning about story writing, right? And you want your students to write stories. Let them write in a chart. If some of the students want to do a role play, let them do the role play. So as a teacher, you are giving them opportunities to deliver or to, articulate their understanding in different ways. So the learning intention is same. You are still learning about stories, but how they are making stories and sharing stories is different. So that is known as, the differentiation on the basis of product. Learning environment, I already had a discussion that making sure there are places in the room to work quietly, providing materials. As we know that the learners, those who are practical learners, they want some hands-on experiences. So only hands-on experiences will not happen in labs. Your classroom should have manipulatives, and manipulatives need not to be expensive. Have, matchsticks or the unifix cubes or certain things which help them to, demonstrate their understanding. Set clear guidelines. If they are doing a group work, don't think that they are going to be, everything is going to be normal. There are students, those who dominate, right? So make sure if they're doing group work, each and every learner is learning. And how do you do that? By setting up the clear guidelines, developing routines that allow learners to help when teachers are busy. So when I'm saying this, I'm not telling you that, okay, if a good learner is done with the work, you are telling him, okay, go and help your friend. No, this should happen intentionally and deliberately in the classroom, where you're setting up a culture of collaboration and cooperation during the task, helping students to understand that some learners need to move around. There are learners, those who have learning disabilities, right? They can't sit at one place, they have to move. So developing a culture of inclusion in the classroom and making the learners understand the differences of each other, so that they don't fall into, bully. ये तो घूमता ही रहता है, ये तो भागता ही रहता है, ये तो एक जगह नहीं बैठता है. So they are made like that. So they need to have opportunities to, release that energy in the classroom. One more thing that I would like to, talk about here. Everyone is very clear about the Bloom's taxonomy, but Bloom's taxonomy is again a little difficult to implement, right? When we do B.Ed, so Bloom taxonomy is a part of our curriculum. We all do that, but in the class, nobody do that. Fine. So it is very important to understand the depth of knowledge. For example, I'm a learner of, Mr. Pramod's class, and Mr. Pramod is my maths teacher, and I have by-hearted fractions, I have by-hearted decimal, I have by-hearted percentage, I also by-hearted the formula, and I can do anything. But I'm unable to find the connection between decimal, fraction, and percentage. Which level I am? I'm at, this is, I'm talking about Webb's depth of knowledge, DOK. I'm at level 1. I can only recall and reproduce the information given by my teacher, Mr. Pramod. I'm on DOK 2. I am only able to apply the basic skills which my teacher has given me. Whenever you plan lesson, make sure that you are catering to DOK1, which deals with recalls and reproduction. Your lesson should have DOK2, basic applications of a skill, but your lesson should have DOK3 and DOK4, which talks about strategic thinking, which talks about extended thinking. What should you have in your lessons? For example, you are talking about fractions or decimals. You need to ask them, how can you use it? Why can you use it? What is the reason why are we using fractions in the daily life, right? All those things. For example, you're talking about the climate change. Ask them, what will be the impact of, greenhouse gases? What is the impact of using fertilizer extensively? What happened when the field have, all the macronutrients, but micronutrients are not there? So these questions will help them to take the basic level of learning to the greater level of learning, and we are preparing them for a world which we cannot imagine. हमारे साथ क्या हुआ? कोरोना आया तो हमने सारी चीजें सीखी, and अचानक से हम डिजिटल हो गए. पर वो जिस वर्ल्ड में जाएंगे, हमने भी बिना इमेजिन करे ही किया, हमारे लिए मुश्किल हुई. So what we need to do, we need to prepare them for the world which we are not, which we cannot imagine right now. So extended thinking and strategic thinking is very important. So plan your lessons well and give opportunities for this type of thinking through your formative assessments. Now I'm going to give you very handy differentiation strategies which you can take away in the classroom. And those, there are two type of differentiation strategies: low prep strategies and high prep strategies. The very eminent and efficient teachers use high prep strategies, and they have enough time and enough support from the management. The student teacher ratio is low, but I do understand as an educator that we need some low prep strategies which doesn't require a hell lot of planning. Rather, those are handy. So I'm going to give you some of the differentiation strategies which you can take back into the classroom. So here we go. Okay, one thing that is very important before going into strategy, a classroom is an ecosystem. Make your classroom a democratic ecosystem. Promote voice, choice, and ownership. If you're promoting voices, you are not the solo dictator in the class. Rather, you are listening to students as well. And don't be in a fear that if you will listen to them, they will guide your class, right? But you need to ask about what choices do they want, what do they have to say, where they are, how do they want to learn, right? And ownership, right? When I'm learning as a learner, I should know what are my drawbacks. A kind of SWOT analysis is there. So grouping is there. When you're doing grouping, make both type of group: homogeneous grouping and heterogeneous grouping. What is homogeneous grouping? When you club together learners of same level. And heterogeneous grouping, when you are clubbing together learners who are at different levels. So promote both homogeneous and heterogeneous grouping. Homogeneous grouping works well when you are delivering a concept and you want to focus more on the students, those who are actually struggling, right? So have that kind of group, but don't label student. Never say that you are the struggling students, and use it very mindfully. So one of the strategies of grouping is, before starting the class, observe them for 1 week or 10 days. Give your observation time and observe how do they learn, what is their level, and then use their notebooks and give them token: red, blue, green. So you have divided it into red, blue, green, but they never know what is red, what is blue, and what is green. How you have divided, but you have actually divided on their abilities. So whenever you are taking a concept, tell all the red learners sit together, blue learners and green learners. So you have divided them into groups. You know that you have actually divided them into their level of understanding or their proficiency level, and then you are delivering the task. So this is one way of using homogeneous grouping, and there are many strategies for that. We need a complete session, so I'm not going to talk about that. Okay, I'm going to talk about raft. Raft is a strategy which is basically a writing strategy, but you can use it anywhere. We have been using it anywhere. So raft is actually an acronym of role, audience, format, topic, right? I had a discussion about this in the initially, but I'll tell you again about it. For example, you're talking about simple machines, right? In the classroom, you're learning about simple machine, and your student has taken up the role of pulley, right? And the audience is mechanic, and pulley is explaining about his importance to mechanic using the format of a dialogue box or an essay or a video, and the topic is same for everyone: simple machine. But some of them are taking up the role of reporter, some of them are taking up the role of observer, some of them are taking up the role of object. You're learning about simple machines, but students are using different role, audience, and format to deliver their understanding, right? Second thing is menus. When you go to the restaurant, how do you feel when you have not given any choices? Will you go to that restaurant again? No, definitely not. So in the classroom, give them choices, and there are very good strategies to promote choices in the classroom. So one strategy is menu. So for example, you're taking a lesson on photosynthesis, right? So when you're taking a lesson on photosynthesis, you have designed a learning menu. The learning menu has appetizer, right? The learning menu has entry, side dishes, and dessert. And what are these are the activities which you want your students to do. So appetizer is something which everyone has to do. In the entry ticket, you have given them, three options. In the side dishes, again, they need to do at least two. Dessert is optional. So dessert is for whom? Is for the learners, those who do their work very quickly in a wing, and they need more, challenging tasks. So this is a strategy which is known as learning menu, which is again used in the classroom. So you have already planned several tasks, and you are giving them opportunities to articulate their understanding, to show, to demonstrate their understanding, right? We all played tic-tac-toe. So this is again a tic-tac-toe. This tic-tac-toe is based on book report, right? For example, you are learning about report writing of a book, and you want them to talk about characters, want them to talk about the setting of the books, the author of the book, and the illustrator of the book, everything, whatever is there in the book is fiction and non-fiction. But if you do it in this way, where students can have various tasks to choose vertically, diagonally. So this is again promoting differentiation, giving students choices, and students can choose and do any three tasks. So this is choice menu. I spoke about self-assessment. I spoke about, a lot of introspection from student side. We keep on telling student, you do this, you do that, and it doesn't work. So this is learning contract, which you can use in the classroom. Ask them, if for example you're starting a new topic, write down the topic and ask the students how do they want to learn it. They want to read about it, they want to listen some audios, they want to write about it. So they are making a contract with you before starting the learning, and tell them that how they only will decide how do they want to show their understanding, right? So this is a learning contact which you use in the classroom, and this works well in the distance learning because students need that democracy, and you need to deliver it in different ways. This is again a learning contract. This is for little higher classes, 3 4 5. For example, to demonstrate what I have learned about, say, migrations, right? So what do I want to do? I want to write a report about migration. I need to set up a computer presentation. I need to make a graphic organizer. So they are choosing different products. This will be why are you choosing this product. So they are explaining why they have chosen that particular mode of presentation. To do this project, whom do they need? What do they need? I need more videos student is writing. I need more instructional support. What is their action plan? How they want to do it? So this is more of personalized learning where students are taking ownership. So you can use learning contracts as well in the classroom. This is a
For which class standard we can use this contract?
you can use learning contract. This one you can use for grade 1 and 2,
Okay.
even for early years with the support of parents, and if they're in the class they do it. This is very good for early years, and this one is grade 2 onwards you can use it.
Okay, so in case of distance education, we need to get involved the parents definitely.
Parents involvement is important, even though they are not, in distance education, and they consider themselves as customers, but they are stakeholders actually. So they need to be equally involved, right? So if we are sending, for example, a learner needs to be reteach, needs a recapitalization. So we can send this to home as well, that identify what are the ways you will, recapitulate this. And learner themselves are filling it. So they have the ownership that I am the one who have filled this contract. When we fill the contract, what happened? We feel it.
Yes.
Right? So this is a strategy to promote ownership and to make them more responsible and accountable for their own learning. Right now, when we are discussing, for example, the class is going on, so we can quickly ask the student, can you show me thumbs up, thumbs down, or sideways where you are? So this is again a very low prep formative assessment strategy, which a teacher is using to get informed about the student's understanding. again is, for example, you have just watched a video and you want your learners to talk about the video whether they have watched it or not, and this has happened in the live class. So you can quickly tell them, okay, go grab your journal or notebook and tell me what was the most interesting part in the video. What is something which is, you really like, what you want to remove from the video, what is something you did not like. So plus, minus, and interesting is one strategy which you can use. Okay, what zone am I in? You have delivered a lesson, but because it is a digital lesson, you don't know whether they have reached to the level which which you want them. So quickly ask them, was it too easy for you? Or it is just on target, or was it too hard for you? And they can quickly tell it was too easy for me. So you clearly know that these learners need more. Even on target learners can be given some more opportunities, but the learners who find it too hard requires reteaching and recap of the concept, right? So when we are doing distance learning, we are following either synchronous mode of learning where complete school setup is there, a timetable is there, but synchronous is not working. Asynchronous teaching has to happen. Asynchronous, what is the problem with asynchronous teaching? Teachers is not, teachers are not fooled that they are going to come at 7 to 9 and 8 to 9 again in the evening. So set up asynchronous teaching in a way that content is there and accessibility is there. So if the learners found it too hard, here you can use Puzzle. Give one more video on the for the learners to read, give more articles to the learners to his or her level, so that he can develop the mastery of the content which you are delivering in the classroom. So this is again a very good formative assessment for a teacher to understand that whether the students understood the concept of or not. Okay, so here we are going to talk about product. Product in traditional classroom are your unit test or your standardized testing, written report, but product in a differentiated classroom, which actually meant for learning, right? It can be art video, it can be oral presentation, it can be PowerPoint, skits, songs, and dance of the same concept. For example, if a learner is preparing a presentation on, fractions, and teacher is asking on the moment question, you understand that who is able to grasp the knowledge. So give them, instead of giving the paper, pencil, or chalk and talk method, give them variety in articulating their understanding also. And this is again one of the aspect of differentiation. Right now we need to demystify what is differentiation. So differentiation is something which is student centered, which is a best practice, different approaches for the same thing, 3 to 4 different learning engagement or activities, multiple approaches to master the content, multiple approaches through processes and product, a way of thinking and planning, and flexible grouping. What differentiation is not one thing. Differentiation is not one thing. Carol Tomlinson herself said that differentiation is all about common sense of teacher. She said one more thing. If your instructions are not meeting the need of the learners, it is wise to change your instruction and shake up your instruction. She herself said it. And she's the guru of differentiation, right? So one thing, a program, a goal, hard question for some learner, 35 different plans, a chaotic classroom, just homogeneous grouping is not differentiation. So if you're doing all those things, try to get rid of this. Understand what is differentiation. I have given you some hands-on, activities, learning engagement. You can take it back into the classroom. I would like to summarize it. What is fair is not always equal. Right? We had a discussion about equity and equality. So if you're giving equal opportunities of learner, you're not doing anything. So wear the lens of equity and understand that they are not equal. So we need to give them equitable solutions through the content, process, product, and learning environment. So we are going to understand the individuality of those learners and we need to cater to their needs. For example, I'm bringing a shoe number 6 and I'm just trying hard so that everyone can wear it. right? So differentiation get us away from one size fits all approach of the curriculum. So we all are, sometimes handpacked with the curriculum. Okay, our curriculum doesn't allow, we need to cover up the syllabus. But as a teacher, what do we want? We want our students to learn. So these are some of the effective strategies which help the learner to learn. So one size fits all approach is there in the curriculum, especially those who have mandate to be followed. And instruction that doesn't fit anyone. If, for example, I'm doing a monologue and if it is not fitting anyone, what is the purpose of it? I'm just making a noise, right? I'm not making a dialogue. So make sure that all your lessons are dialogue, and students have enough opportunities to learn. Last but not the least, I this is something which, I have this on my door as well. As an educator, consider that our foremost goal is to develop a growth mindset. So change your statements and change your mindset, change the mindset of your learners. As a teacher, 4 years back, I did, something very interesting. Uh, on the day one of my, learning, I told my learners that make a list of statement which you can't do, and they jotted down certain thing which they can't do, and I gave that as a name, I can't funeral. So they jotted down, they kept it, and they used to, tick it that these are the things now we are able to do. So develop that mindset that things are possible. And if there are learners who feel, very complacent, that no, I'm the one who's the queen of the class and I am the all-rounded, curb that as well. Both the ways. So we need to seek a balance. We need to develop ability to grow, so develop a growth mindset. And yeah, we have taken, things from various places to make the learning more, so this is my bibliography. And I request you to use the chat box and share, what 3 things that you have learned today. What are the 2 examples of things that you're going to take back to the class? And if you have any question, share that one question. So this is again one of the strategy that you can use in the classroom at the end of the lesson, and this is known as 3 to 1 strategy.
So 3 to 1, we call that.
Yes. Yeah, 3 to 1.
Okay.
3 things that you remember from the lesson about today's session, 2 examples that you have learned today, and one question that you have.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and the quote that I would like to end: children must be taught what to think, not, how to think, not what to think. So this should be, in every pedagogy. This is a quote which always inspired me, that we need to develop thinkers, those who can find solutions for themselves.
Very nice. So, ma'am, it has been a wonderful session, and and then basically you covered a wide spectrum, means how the assessment should actually be conducted, and whether it is a classroom or distance mode, whatever way it is there. And anything specific you would like to say about the younger children, kindergarten?
Yes, I would like to add on. So kindergarten children, when they are at home, it is very difficult for us to understand how they are doing. So one thing, Puzzle these days are free. Use Puzzle and Newsilla. Newsilla and Puzzle, both the platform can be synced with Google Classroom. Nearpod is also good. Seesaw is also good. So these 4 are the tools which can be used for early years classroom, and develop a habit of partnership, right? And
again, ma'am, you said Newsilla.
Newsilla, Newsilla, Newsilla. Nearpod.
How you spell that?
Nearpod.
Okay.
Seesaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these tools which, develop a kind of portfolio of student learning. Have a meeting, we need to educate parents more.
Mm-hmm.
We need to tell them that you are the partner of learning now, and develop a culture of less correction and more connection. Understand this thing, that we are doing crisis teaching, and there is no way to replicate the classroom through this digital platform. This is just a substitute. right? So we need to, make it very visible to parents as well, that if they can't help, we are actually helpless. So this is one thing that I need to say, and this is what I'm trying here as well.
Okay, okay. That's wonderfully said, ma'am. It is wonderfully said that without the parents' help, we are helpless.
They are the stakeholders and they are much needed. And one thing that we need to learn, what is happening, there is a lot of misunderstanding in parents and teachers. So if they're empathetic, they're understanding we are also human being, and we are understanding they are human being. You know what has happened with us? We had a complete synchronous platform. We have just, shifted our school from the physical school to digital school. Then we got to know that after the lockdown, parents have started working. So we have reduced our school time. We have make changes in the timetable. We have make changes in our way of instruction. So that has come from empathy. Neither we are strong-headed nor parents are. So that culture of collaboration, and who is getting benefited? Learners are getting benefited. So our major aim to let the learning go, and this will only happen by effective collaboration and partnership.
Definitely, definitely. Do you prefer asynchronous mode of learning better?
Asynchronous aspects are there, and for that you will be laughing. We are using WhatsApp for that. For asynchronous mode of learning, teachers are recording their videos, but some learners are in very remote areas where they can't access Google Classroom. So teachers are are doing a lot. I salute them for their effort. So they are using emo, what is that, IMO, they're using WhatsApp, they're collecting evidences of students learning, they're allowing them to submit those things which they could not submit through Google Classroom, because it is not easy for parents. We have transitioned because we are well equipped with those skills, and sometimes parents, they don't want to do it. So there are certain things which has been taken place. So I right now I have more than 20 WhatsApp group, and all of them I am admin. And I have all the Google Classroom where I am admin. So a lot more. It seems like I am an octopus sometimes, and teachers feel the same, that okay, so many things to do. It's like that.
Okay. Definitely a great session. And any suggestions for subjective answers? Primary children can't type long answers.
Yes, very nice question. So if you are using Google Classroom, use Google Forms and use multiple choice questions, right? You can use Kahoot as well. Kahoot also gives option. You use Quizlet, polls. All these are selected response question, and selected response also not in a boring way. They give various options. I wanted to use word cloud and all those in today's session, but because of my system I couldn't do it. I prepared all those, and even I showed to Pramod ji as well, but nothing worked today. So always be ready with plan B. And I'm really thankful that the PPT is alive. So otherwise we would be in a very shameful situation today. So many people and such a big failure, but by God's grace. And I'm also all fine, so I'm feeling rejuvenated. I don't feel like I have fever and all.
Yeah, I must thank you, ma'am. She was under fever yesterday and we were worried. She had to take the medication, and then that is how. But then she said that sharing with the children, the teachers, and talking to them would rejuvenate me, and that is what had happened.
Yeah, so I'm feeling more energetic. I don't know what will happen after webinar. Back to pavilion. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed. Any more questions? I'm ready to take it up.
Hey, ma'am, I think that's there. That's there. Only thing is, a few tools that you have mentioned, teachers are not very used to.
Yes. So what I can do, I will share. I have already shared one PPT. I'll share this PPT as well with you, so you can share it with the teachers, so that they can, it becomes handy for them. I'll share the PPT with you.
About tools,
yeah,
something like that, they can go on YouTube and watch it themselves. Or
yes. I listen, teachers. You need to go on commonsense.org.
Okay.
There you will you will give a clear pick of the tools which are free, which are paid, what are the basic features, what are the pros and cons. So go on commonsense.org. I will share a link also with you, Mr. Pramod. So you can share it in the group where they all are. Right? So go to commonsense.org, to use the tool. And what I suggest, if you go in a buffet, what will happen if you will eat everything? This is one of my friend told me in last session, that if you go in a buffet or marriage party, if you try to eat everything, what will happen? Indigestion will happen, right? So
Yes.
don't eat everything. Don't try to use all the technology. Use few. What you want video, use Edpuzzle. You want surveys, selected response, use Google Classroom tools, your surveys. You want students to collaborate, use Google Docs. You want students to make presentation, use Google Slides. So Google Classroom itself is very holistic in nature, and use few of the add-on tools, right? So Edpuzzle is good for higher grade teachers. From grade 2 onwards, Newsilla is a wonderful tool and it is free. And for maths, use Khan Academy. For early years, use Jolly Phonics app and Khan Academy. Tell parents to download those apps and then use it. And for grade 1 to 5, use Khan Academy again, and you can transfer your Google class to Khan Academy, and you can see the student progress. Everything is so visible. So don't complicate your life by trying so many things. Use few but effective. Okay, believe in the principle of less is more.
Okay. So nice, ma'am. Wonderful session, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
that all the participants must have definitely enjoyed. We had around 500 here and about 150, 200 in the YouTube watching live.
Wow.
And that was a great session, and we would be uploading in on YouTube. We'll be sharing that all with you all. So, ma'am,
Thank you.
I think we have gone about 2 hours now, and then
Yes, too much.
and prior to that, you were working on it. So it's so nice of you to.
Thank you so much, and thank you for creating this, opportunities. I should say you are one of the edu hero. May God bless you, and may God bless everyone whoever has joined us, because we all are doing a wonderful job. I want to see few, so if you can, I'm just stop sharing. I want to see people who have joined us.
Yeah,
And
ma'am, you must be able to see the participants list as a parent, no?
yeah, tell them to show their videos so that we can see each other for the last time, and then we can part ways.
Actually, if
So
you want, some of them are ready, then I can put them into panel. So
okay,
that
okay,
can
no,
happen.
then that's okay, so thank you so much, guys, for listening 2 hours so patiently. I thoroughly enjoyed, and thanks for joining. See you all, because the world is small. And thank you so much, Mr. Pramod. You have
Thank
been highly supportive.
thank you.
I thoroughly enjoyed because of you, and you were not panic even though when I was not able to join. So thank you so much. Take care. Have a nice day.
Same to you.
Thank you.